Hi, my name is Naim.
I'm Nadjween.
And I'm Nursyakeren.
And welcome to
Small Talk. Okay, welcome to Small Talk. Small Talk is a podcast. We're starting this new podcast. It's our pilot episode, and this is a space where we talk about, we have little voices talking about big issues.
Yes. Especially about education, our Malaysian education.
Yes.
And then?
So this is a space where every voice matters. That's what we want to. That's our branding for the podcast.
If I can add, Naim, we also want to show that us youth, belia, we can talk about small things that actually have big differences.
Betul. Yeah. So that is what you guys can expect throughout the year. It's us three, the advocacy journalists for Small Changes this year, where we'll talk about the issues in the education space, and hopefully we'll bring on some guests, some familiar names. Leave a comment down below if you have any.
Who we should invite?
Yeah.
In our next episode of the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So before we start with talking about these big issues, I think the listeners would like to get to know us a bit more. So I thought we would introduce ourselves through our schooling experiences, sort of according to the theme of our podcast.
Boleh.
Right. So Nadjween, what was your schooling experience like?
Well, I go to sekolah menengah harian.
Okay.
So basically I grew up in Rawang, Selangor. So dekat sekolah I tu, sebenarnya sekolah I tu dia dekat kampung, tapi dia macam sejengkal dari bandar. Maksudnya sejengkal tu maksudnya
rural area.
Tak, dia sebenarnya kampung yang tengah-tengah bandar macam tu lah. So basically you keluar dari kampung tu dah ada dah Tesco, dah ada dah segala pak gembus dan sebagainya. So dia macam bandar experience jugalah. Macam tu.
Macam pekan
so, like balik sekolah tu selalu pergi meninggal ke?
Unfortunately, my parents sangat-sangat strict.
Faham.
So tak dapat lah sebab kita orang macam dekat tau dengan 7E apa semua kan. So dia macam tak dapat lah experience tu. But then kalau you nak memang dekat lah.
Faham.
Okay, kalau I pula, I orang Johor. So like basically I sekolah kat Johor lah. So I sekolah harian juga macam korang, but form 4 and form 5 I pindah sekolah. Which is I pindah to Sekolah Menengah Teknik Johor Bahru, TIJB, Technical Institute Johor Bahru. And then like dekat situ banyak lah macam I asrama. Tapi sekolah tu bukan asrama penuh lah. Dia ada, kita orang panggil insiders and outsiders. I dikira insiders lah. So macam relationship between insider and outsider ni tak rapat sangat sebab kita orang geng-geng budak asrama macam gitulah. So technically I pun sekolah harian juga.
Was it very hectic duduk dekat asrama?
Bagi I hectic doh sebab macam bayangkan seniority untuk form 4 and form 5 punya sekolah ni is very high. Even though like macam setahun je apa dah sangat. Tak like macam kalau korang tanya audience pun yang pernah sekolah asrama form 4 and form 5, like diorang really titik beratkan seniority. So bagi I susah kat situ. Macam I ada thoughts untuk pindah sekolah, but then like my father keep on pushing me, tak apalah, just go through it, you can do it. And then like
time you form 5 you pegang sekolah tu lah.
Tak
tu bukan.
Tak ada.
Okay. So my schooling experience pula, it's quite I'd say menarik lah sebab the area itself is orang kata macam tempat orang senang. The demographic of Kat mana? Dekat KL lah.
Kat mana tu spesifik?
Dekat TTDI. Dekat Taman Tun Dr. Ismail.
Dekat TTDI.
So nak katakan sebab demographic the area and demographic sekolah tu sangatlah lain. Sebabkan sekolah ni sekolah biasa, sekolah harian. Yang macam jenis yang kalau you in the area, you automatically masuk sekolah tu. But it was surrounded by schools, orang kata cluster schools, yang jenis you can apply. So typically budak-budak pandai,
dia rasa pressure lah.
Tak juga, no. Sebab budak-budak yang high performing masa UPSR, diorang masuk sekolah tu. So lalas.
Tapi tak silap cluster school dia macam sistem yang tetapkan kan. It's not like kita kena apply sebab macam I dulu UPSR boleh lah. And then like I'm pergi cluster school. And then like rancangan khas, kelas rancangan khas. One RK1, one RK2. So I dapat pergi kelas rancangan khas. So dia jauh sikit daripada sekolah I. Daripada rumah I. And then like so like 2 tahun je I tahan kat situ sebab jauh sangat, tak ada transport. So I Form 3 tu I pindah dekat sekolah sekolah yang dekat dengan rumah I balik. So dia macam gitu. So bila you kata sekolah cluster tu macam mana?
I think this shows the difference in our ages kot. I
Oh,
think this shows our age difference kot. Because my time you have to go first, your first day you kena pergi sekolah yang berdekatan dulu, register dulu, and then you apply to these cluster schools. So contohnya masa Form 1 kelas I 30 orang. By the end of the year 18 je. Sebab ada yang masuk sekolah like I said, kelas cluster berdekatan atau pergi MRSM, pergi SBP. So what was left was quite a interesting mix I would say, macam segala lapisan masyarakat. And I guess not what you would think when you hear sekolah dekat TTDI. You know, tapi yang menariknya sebab itulah I guess the exposure to different sorts of backgrounds. Kan you have the macam anak-anak Datuk Datin, anak Tan Sri, ada.
So you kawan
bukan I lah, dia bukan I lah.
So you kawan dengan diorang, ramai anak.
I jenis yang berkawan dengan semua orang.
Okay, faham.
Lepas tu ada macam sebab we have a kampung juga nearby where they have a sekolah rendah but they don't have sekolah menengah. So their kids would come to our school. So it's quite a good mix lah, and personally I think for my development as a human being, I think really benefited from the exposure from mixing so I think that was nice lah.
Maksudnya in your school macam regardless of T20, M40 semua, macam semua orang bersatu lah.
Semua orang bersatu, betul. Betul.
Okay, sangat different from my school lah.
Yeah. So that was nice lah. Macam you know, I think whenever I say that I sekolah kat TTI, orang kata, "Whoa, TTI." So sebenarnya tak, it's quite, I think it's humbling juga nak kata. So benda tu I carry with me lah. I'm very proud of the fact that I went to SMK TTI. Plug sikit dah. Okay, so this episode we're going to talk a bit about the new education plan. Tadi Karen, you mentioned a bit about macam the processes, macam mana nak masuk sekolah kan, sort of the system kan. So now we're going to talk a bit about the big plan, the RPM, Rancangan Pendidikan Malaysia 2026 to 2035. Yeah, so we're going to take specific angles. So kita nak cakap tentang budak 6 tahun, kanak-kanak 6 tahun boleh dapat kemasukan ke sekolah rendah. And we're also going to talk about the mandatory general studies in tertiary education. So we're not just going to talk about the schooling but also in uni lah kan. Okay, so kalau korang bila korang dengar kerajaan umumkan RPM ni, what was the first thing that came to mind?
Kalau I rasa benda ni inovatif lah. Sebab kalau tengok balik dekat RPM ni, dia ada cakap pasal nak lebihkan TVET, STEM, Science, like, and then like any technology. Sebab sekarang kan penggunaan artificial intelligence keep on increasing, especially lagi-lagi dekat budak zaman sekarang ni, diorang like menggunakan AI hampir kepada semua benda. So that's why macam I think it's a good idea juga, maybe like how human can utilize AI and how we can train AI for our future dalam kita punya pendidikan ni.
Kalau Karen cakap inovatif, I rasa transformative.
Ush.
I rasa transformative, and juga I rasa macam hopeful lah dekat this new plan. Sebab I think the past few years kan, kita dah selalu dengar parents complain macam bila nak kembalikan UPSR, bila nak kembalikan PT3. Betul. Sebab bila tak ada those two big exams, the students dia macam belajar tapi dia tak tahu dia belajar untuk apa.
Betul.
Dia macam tak ada that tempat untuk dia macam capai something macam tu.
Macam
missing tau. So I rasa macam I was waiting for that, and I agree with Karen juga sebab pasal AI, sebab nowadays kan the kids diorang literally boleh buat homework pakai ChatGPT.
Betul weh. Ni tak tipu, like macam I ada adik and then like I macam kenapa korang guna AI? I'm not even using any like macam tekan sendiri weh. Kalau tak faham tanya kawan WhatsApp weh ni macam mana korang buat. And then like dia bagilah ni. Tapi dulu ada macam satu app tu nama dia Photomat.
Betul. First time dengar. Sorry.
Kat situ lah I refer nak buat map. Tapi diorang like type. Even tangkap gambar je AI dah generate all the answer.
And then kalau dulu kita belajar maths kan macam you akan dapat markah dekat jalan kerja. ChatGPT dia bagi you like the full jalan kerja. So macam senang lah. So I was also thinking juga yang RPM ni is very necessary sebab kita nak tengok macam mana the government nak integrate AI into the kids punya education and how they nak prepare the teachers lah, I think.
Betul.
Okay, betul lah. Masa thinking back to when I was in school, dulu kalau tak reti buat homework tu, either you memang tak siap and you sedia kena denda ataupun you tiru kat belakang lah. Kan dulu buku latihan ada kat belakang ada jawapan kan. Tapi working jalan kerja tak ada lah kan. Tapi sekarang AI just budak-budak semua guna AI could never be me lah.
Okay.
But so yeah, I think kalau kita nak ikut the format of one word, the one word for me is berani lah. Sebab I think we moving away from the high stakes standardized testing, which I think kalau orang semua yang dah pernah mengalami sistem pendidikan Malaysia, semua orang fikir tentang UPSR, PT3, SPM and what those exams mean. Kan? Contohnya kalau UPSR, this is what decides which school you go to. PT3/PMR pun sama. Kan contohnya kalau you sekolah harian, you ada impian nak masuk SBP, nak masuk MRSM, you kena score PT3/PMR kan. By hook by crook you kena score. So this sort of removes the high stakes sebab in recent years we've also talked about the mental burden of students kan. Students really feeling the mental burden of exams. I think tu salah satu sebab kenapa kerajaan move away from the standardized testing in the first place. Betul. Tapi the questions on parents punya mind, netizens punya mind is, okay, korang dah mansuhkan peperiksaan tu, what next kan? What is in place of that?
Zaman UPMR lagi.
Zaman IPT3. I bukan Angk. Sorry, I bukan Angk. So IPT3 and yalah. So I think beranilah yang it is quite, like you said, innovative. I think specifically the standard 4 testing. Kita tak test standardized testing dekat standard 6, kita test standard 4 quite awal. Sebab you think macam, yelah kalau betul lah kita nak test progress anak-anak kita, test awal-awal lah kan. So not just so that kita tahu dia boleh pergi sekolah mana, but also so that we have macam nak cakap ada steps to intervene. Kalau contohnya by this point in time dia tak menguasai certain skills yang kita hope yang dia menguasai, kita boleh masuk kelas-kelas pemulihan orang kata. Kan saya dulu pun ada. So benda tu yang I rasa quite berani lah. Yeah. What do you guys think about that?
I think betul juga sebab macam you cakap lah, kalau parents tahu awal anak dia ni sebenarnya setakat mana, I think diorang macam sediakan payung sebelum hujan lah. Tak adalah macam anak you dah darjah 6, dah macam dekat trial tu baru you tahu macam, oh anak I sebenarnya tak boleh kuasai sains.
Betul.
At least you dah tahu standard 4, you dah boleh prep dia into tuition ke apa-apa yang untuk prep your kids, you know.
Betul. I pun agree dengan Nadjween.
I think like even macam I think to the furthest extreme, macam contohnya lah, kalau macam like your example, maybe parents tu harap anak dia dapat A untuk sains, tapi maybe dia dapat C kan. I think the furthest extreme of that is, what if anak tu tak reti membaca, tak reti mengira, tak reti menulis at standard 6, and then he or she is about to enter sekolah menengah. So that is something that should be macam mana cakap, a checkpoint awal, and I think this is a step in the right direction lah. Yeah, so lepas ni we will talk more about not a very earlier checkpoint, and at the age of 6 bila kita nak masuk sekolah rendah, and that is what we will talk about in the next segment lah. So kita akan berhenti seketika and kita sambung nanti di segmen kemudian. Terima kasih. Alright.
Hello, welcome back everyone to our
Small Talk.
So, segmen seterusnya ni kita orang akan bincang macam mana macam dekat dalam RPM tu dia introduce budak 6 tahun dah boleh lompat masuk kepada darjah 1, tapi the news release that latest kalau I baca hari tu kerajaan kata diorang based on parents punya diorang agree ke tak, and then the children itself whether they are ready or not to jump into darjah 1. So talking about RPM, dia kan dah announce budak 6 tahun boleh masuk darjah 1 from the choice of their parents and their readiness. Waktu korang dengar benda ni, what comes in your mind?
Okay. Sebab awal-awalnya they announced that there was a filtering, tahu tak?
Betul.
Awal-awal there was filtering, and then there was a U-turn from the government about that lah, where semua boleh masuk. Semua boleh masuk. So at that point I rasa macam there was a lack of confidence in the rollout lah, the implementation of the system itself. Tapi kalau kita nak cakap pasal the decision itself 6 tahun tu, I fikir bagus. Sebab kita nak awalkan pendidikan anak-anak kita, sebab kita nak lagi cepatlah maju kan. Kalau boleh by a certain age kita nak anak-anak kita, the golongan belia be capable of more kan. Tapi I think they could have done better in the rollout. Contohnya macam contoh sekarang anak-anak 6 tahun dah boleh masuk sekolah. So maksudnya next year is the class size going to be double of what it is this year?
Agak.
Kan?
Sebab walaupun dia baru tapi tak mustahil untuk parents nak anak dia cepat. Contohnya macam kalau tengok sekarang A-level lah. A-level ramai yang before 17 tahun dia orang dah ambil dah. 15 tahun dah ambil, and then terus jump to university. So
What do you think?
And kalau I lah kan, I rasa one of the main point yang diorang discuss in parliament also pasal kesediaan cikgu-cikgu. Sebab the issue is sekarang cikgu tak cukup, and cikgu yang ada pun dah burn out. Lepas tu I think berkaitan dengan, if I'm not mistaken, initially they said that there will be an exam, right?
Betul.
Untuk
determine
determine macam
assess dulu budak tu layak ke tak. So
betul.
darjah 1.
Sebab I think dia macam cadangan tu initially was like a pros and cons. The pros is that okay lah, we give the flexibility to the parents. Kalau parents rasa macam anak I ni dah advance, and you know what, I have the capability untuk hantar anak I pergi sekolah, okay lah dia hantar. Tapi what if, and kalau anak dia pass lah the test, tapi what if anak jiran dia tak pass the test? Bukan ke dah start kita bagi competition dekat these two 6-year-old kids?
Right.
Betul.
Macam the competition starts way earlier, and also I rasa betul juga the government maybe termiss part the facility and also the teachers,
Betul.
the educators.
Betul.
Yeah, so I rasa benda tu yang
And then kita kena take a look juga untuk sebab benda ni kan is melibatkan satu Malaysia. Macam mana dengan budak-budak daripada golongan orang asli, macam tak cukup facilities, cikgu-cikgu pun. So benda ni kena tengok jugalah.
Betul?
yeah. Sebab kalau kat bandar pun problem, apatah lagi rural areas
Betul,
kan.
betul. And I think macam from the kids point of view juga, yelah tadi baru kita borak tentang the high stakes exam, mesti PESA, P3, SPM, and what a emotional, mental weight it was kan. Imagine kita nak test budak 6 tahun.
Betul.
Sebab benda ni pun I ada buat research. One research paper about school readiness of 6 and 7 years old measured by the intelligence and development skills. Dia punya research paper I tak ingat authors dia, but it was published in 2020. Dia kata school readiness untuk budak 6 dengan 7 tahun ni is satisfactory, which is macam dah appropriate lah untuk belajar, tapi sebabkan education system dekat Malaysia dia macam lain sikit. Kalau budak 6 tahun nak pergi darjah 1, syllabus dia lain. And then like dia on that research paper juga dia mention budak 6 tahun ni tak boleh perform most difficult mathematical task. And then like kalau budak tu tak ready, diorang will face like school failure. So benda ni kita kena tengok budak tu lah ready
Betul.
ke tak.
I think macam kalau kita nak tengok the decision itself kan, for me dia macam twofold tau. Okay, from an education point of view, memang is the right decision. Absolutely kan. Like you said lah, memang patutnya, memang dari dulu lagi patutnya anak-anak kita masuk 6 tahun. Kan. Tapi we also cannot run away from the fact that our education system, the policies, it's politically motivated juga. There are political elements to it. So I remember balik masa dia mansuhkan Tertiary, I cakap macam my own thoughts lah. I didn't have a platform like this lah kan. I was at home tweeting lah kan. I cakap this is the right decision, but they have to get it right. Sebab if you get it wrong, orang akan reject dah lepas ni. The moment you mention it, orang cakap oh dulu dah try but it failed. Kan? So it's so important to get it right. So tu yang macam I am a bit disappointed lah in the roll out. Macam the implementation kurang. Macam feel like it's planning tu tak cukup kan, like istilah infrastructure, teacher readiness, all this. So I think also equally important point macam dari sudut pandangan parents kan, we have to also admit that it's a cost effective decision to send your kid to school early. You compare dengan harga taska, harga tadika private.
Agak lah.
If I was a parent, I would also send my kid to school whether or not they are ready. Kan? So siapa je tak nak hantar anak diorang pergi sekolah 6 tahun, kan? So I think
I pun start sekolah umur 5 tahun.
Wow. Sebab pandai.
Tak.
Oh tak.
I pergi prasekolah kerajaan. 5-6 tahun. Waktu tu 2009, 2010. And then like tak silap waktu I prasekolah ada periksa. Ada exam way. So, and then like I dengar zaman sekarang dah tak ada I'm not sure about that lah. Tapi waktu I ada.
I think that's another good point lah. I'm also macam I feel like it's a missed opportunity that kita nak budak-budak masuk sekolah rendah 6 tahun. Tapi yalah the worry is the readiness. So sepatutnya it should have been equipped, it should have been paired with roll out of mandatory preschooling. Patutnya kerajaan boleh sediakan preschool everywhere across the country. So to make sure that when budak tu masuk 6 tahun sekolah rendah, tak ada keraguan dah whether or not dia dah ready. Kan? So patutnya macam the opportunity you receive untuk masuk prasekolah kerajaan, I think it should be a thing for all the kids in the country lah. Yeah.
Tapi I think it's an available opportunity juga. Cumanya kadang-kadang macam contoh kan, my area, kita ada je prasekolah kerajaan. Cuma kadang-kadang kan the parents they prefer macam sebab the syllabus might differ a bit dekat tadika. Contohnya macam ada orang prefer nak hantar anak later kalif.
Right.
Sebab macam kita nak Islamic elements. And of course you have to pay thousands lah untuk enroll your kids there. Tapi the issue is kadang-kadang to the parents yang mungkin kurang berkemampuan.
Betul.
Sebab I rasa macam isu kesediaan parents tu kadang-kadang financially, isu dia macam kalau you nak masuk sekolah, sekarang kan sekolah dah wajibkan PIBG.
Betul.
And then you punya textbooks, and then you punya makan minum, and then you punya makan pakai, and not every school are very cakna about the students punya needs whether or not diorang boleh bayar ke tak. So I rasa benda tu pun is an issue juga yang government kena consider.
They should make it attractive lah untuk parents pilih that option.
Betul.
I agree with that. Tapi kan I nak tanya, korang at that age, waktu 5-6 tahun, korang tengah buat apa?
Allah.
like macam kalau I lah, I mention tadi I dah start prasekolah umur 5-6 tahun. Dan like bagi I sekolah ni macam, sebab I tak kerti membaca. I tak kerti membaca.
Sampai sekarang?
No.
Tak. Dulu.
Yeah,
Okay.
lagi waktu 5 tahun, very crucial lah. I tak tahu any words macam I kena bully sebab tu. Even cikgu prasekolah I pun macam bahan I macam pressure lah. And then like my father start make something about that. Dia belikan buku cerita yang ada suku kata. And then setiap hari dia akan suruh I baca. I baca, nanti dia cakap, dia tanya balik, kakak baca apa tadi? Ni semua. Dan macam waktu 6 tahun tu, kan I kata ada periksa kan, prasekolah. I dapat anugerah weh.
Wow.
Itu I waktu umur 6 tahun lah. And then like I pun waktu tu balik sekolah, terus like macam tukar baju and tengok kartun. Dulu I tak ada Astro, so I tengok dekat TV9 lah.
Sama.
Wonder Pets, last kali SpongeBob.
So lagu-lagu cerita-cerita tu you tahu in bahasa Melayu lah? Lagu-lagu
Bahasa Melayu lah.
Bahasa Melayu lah. Kalau English you tak tahu lah?
Tak tahu.
Oh, okay.
Alright, kalau korang?
Kalau I pun, I rasa I honestly tak ingat sangat I belajar gila-gila lah waktu that age kan. I rasa macam, tapi I ada satu habit dari I kecil yang I memang jenis balik sekolah kena buat kerja dulu. Maksudnya kalau let's say you ada homework that day, I buat homework dulu, baru I tidur ke, baru tengok kartun ke, and my parents memang wajibkan benda tu. So basically I akan balik and buat homework, lepas tu kartun lah, TV9 lah. TV9 tu I rasa macam memang core. So Wonder Pets, Cat Dog.
Chuck Zone.
Tak tengok.
Tak tengok. Danny Phantom.
Memang macam itulah, sebab I rasa I tak pernah kisah sangat about the exams.
Betul.
Or like as long, and I rasa our parents pun at the time macam as long as anak dia dah boleh baca, dah boleh kira, okay lah tu.
Betul.
Tak, you nampak macam tak tengok kartun kat TV9.
I tengok kat Astro lah. I tengok. Tapi at that age, I don't remember lah tengok cerita apa. I banyak tengok Kamen Rider tu. I banyak tengok Ultraman, you know, this very action stuff.
Astro ceria ke?
You kot Astro ceria kot. Betul. So at that age, apa lagi I remember, I don't really remember studying lah. I mean, I pergi je tadika, macam
Tadika kemas.
bukan tadika, nama dia tadika Islam TDI. Dia legit they share a wall with the sekolah rendah. So dulu I remember tau. So I dengan my brother 4 years apart. So he was already in the sekolah rendah. So ada sekali tu macam dia pass botol revive dekat I, dekat pagar. I mean tu je lah I remember. But also macam in terms of education, I ingat around that age kot, I baca macam my parents suruh I baca Peter and Jane. Korang ada baca Peter and Jane tak? It's like a children's book, English children's book. The hardcover tau. Very small ones. Shout out to my fellow Peter and Jane readers. It's a very famous book lah I think. So I rasa macam in terms of my penguasaan bahasa tu start dari awal lah. Tapi in terms of belajar in terms of belajar tu tak ingat lah belajar ke tak.
English I start faham and fluent cakap in English form 3 weh. Kalau UPSR dulu I ingat lagi penulisan IC. Penulisan ke pemahaman IC. Tapi one of it IC.
I ingat lagi kalau waktu I sekolah tadika, pernah sekali tu I dapat nombor 1. Lepas tu my mum, I suka buku. Tapi I suka komik.
Sama. I suka baca cerita hantu tu.
Cok, let's not skip over the fact that dia kata dia tak belajar tapi dia dapat nombor 1.
Tak.
Let's not skip over that fact.
But I did my homework.
Okay.
So I punya belajar dekat homework tu.
Okay lah.
Lepas tu I kan suka buku. So I akan keep on beli buku, tapi BM je lah semua.
Memang dekat 7E
Tak, I beli dekat bookshop dekat rumah I. Dia macam pustaka gitu lah.
7E like kan ada komik-komik kan.
I pernah beli sekali dua, tapi mainly I beli dekat kedai buku nearby my house lah. Waktu tu I tak kenal popular lagi.
Komik dulu mahal kan? Macam komik-komik. I baca macam komik Naruto kot. Naruto semua mahal.
Dia depends on komik apa. Kalau komik I, sebab I kan memartabatkan bahasa Melayu time tu. So memang semuanya BM. So macam I ingat lagi waktu tu my mum dia kata okay, no more Malay books, kena beli English. I nangis weh. Sebab I mati-mati tak nak buku English tu. Tapi my mum beli yang tu juga.
You mesti peminat tengah anak Muslim ni.
Ya weh. Korea. Memang macam anak Muslim and then ada like another one. Kuntum.
Come on.
Ya, sumpah. Memang diam gila. Tapi time tu, I rasa memang the kids, they are, I think waktu tu, apa yang kita fikir adalah kita pergi, kita belajar, kita balik. And bila our parents cakap, oh you are good, you dah boleh baca, you dah boleh kira, that's already an achievement. Sebenarnya macam, I rasa it doesn't really matter kalau you put the kids into an exam or anything. Tapi macam, kalau the kids pun tak faham and the kids hanya rasa additional competition, at the end dia akan affect the kids punya mental je.
Betul.
Okay, alright. So soalan yang next ni, dia macam drifted away sikit from the first two question yang I tanya korang tadi. So DOSM, Department of Statistics Malaysia, diorang kata like Malaysia is having brain drain, which orang-orang pandai dia keluar cari opportunity kat luar lah, and then like Malaysia tak cukup like the orang yang really educated kat dalam negara ni sendiri. And then like when we're looking at the RPM, diorang nak naikkan ratio the STEM 60 40, another 40 is art. So korang rasa measurement ni fair tak? Like macam bagi I macam it's a good thing lah, sebab kalau ikut sisi baik, since kita punya dunia ni makin berkembang dengan teknologi and AI, like it's a must lah for us to study and get to know more about technology. And sekarang pun budak-budak sekarang is we call them as digital native, sebab diorang membesar dengan teknologi dari kecil sampai besar. So hidup diorang memang surrounded by technology. Tapi budak-budak ni like they don't know how to use the technology. So like most of them mostly diorang akan guna teknologi ni as tempat main game. Just a leisure punya kegunaan lah. And disebabkan benda ni diorang terlalu bergantung kepada teknologi. Kalau korang tengok budak-budak sekarang, diorang ada short focus span, like macam korang ambil phone and then like diorang macam buat benda yang bukan-bukan. Faham tak? Kalau budak-budak kita dulu, okay, tolong kemaslah bilik, kreatif sikit. Tapi budak-budak sekarang kalau tak ada ni, aktiviti diorang pelik. Sebab benda ni I observe adik I sendiri. So korang rasa, and then like I think for me, it will be good to make the ratio 50-50 lah. Sebab apa? Sebab yeah, it's a good thing kita focus more on technology, artificial intelligence, something like that. Tapi we need to come back to our roots, like humanity lies on art. So benda ni penting lah kalau untuk kita masukkan dalam kita punya untuk look into that ratio. And then like I think so, in conclusion, I think both penting. So it's fair kalau kita buat dia macam equal, 50-50. Kalau korang like korang punya pendapat tentang this 60-40 ratio?
I rasa okay, I think to be fair to the kids of these days I think I feel juga my attention span getting shortening sebab you know, sometimes I find myself doom scrolling, orang kata doom scrolling TikTok ke Reels kan. Reels. I scroll, betul I fikir balik kan, what was the last reel I watched like before this? Tak ingat weh. Tak ingat.
Unless macam dah like.
Betul. So boleh lagi balik kan. So I think to be fair to the kids, I think whoever using it like that will feel that effect lah. Tapi I think okay, in terms of kita punya ratio STEM and art ni kan, sebab okay, looking at it from an economic point of view, sebab kita masih negara membangun, our economy is still developing. Sebenarnya kita memerlukan lebih STEM graduates sebab the big agenda is kita nak move up the supply chain. So contohnya for example the semiconductor sector yang banyak dekat macam contohnya Penang, kita banyak memasang produk-produk like chips. So kita nak move up the supply chain to go into design, to go into the rather than orang punya business buka kat sini, lepas tu kita orang Malaysia pasang je. Kita yang design, kita punya product itself. So in terms that would help how to say macam membangunkan ekonomi kita lah. And to do that we need more skilled, more educated graduates in STEM sebenarnya lah. But to your point, betul juga. Then what of humanities? What of arts? What of poetry? Orang kata kan. So definitely kena ada balance. But I think juga it's not just the system, it's the culture juga. Macam kalau korang ingat masa sekolah, kalau you pandai you masuk sains, kalau tak pandai masuk seni. Kan?
It's a bias tu.
Macam betul kalau lah let's say you pandai kan, and somehow you manage to escape your school, cikgu korang
dia suka flash.
Betul.
Dia suka flash.
So sekarang you have to fight. Kalau yelah you nak masuk, contoh you nak make account ke apa kan, you kena fight. So let's say somehow you manage to escape your teachers, then orang akan tanya tau, oh you pandai, oh you PT3 straight A, kenapa ambil account, kenapa ambil grafik kan. So that culture tu, the stigma kena berubah sebenarnya.
And then I think most of people tak aware yang before kita masuk aliran-aliran tu, cikgu counselling akan buat satu ujian psikometrik. Itu juga akan
menentukan
determine diorang nak gimana.
Betul. I agree yang kalau STEM ni dia kena lebih sikit dari art in terms of the proportion lah. We're talking about proportion. Sebab I rasa macam bila the government dah cakap 60-40 ratio, which is 60 in STEM, it shows that the government, diorang memang betul-betul determine yang kita nak lahirkan more STEM graduates sebab STEM ni yang jadi fundamental of our country. Kita nak jadi AI nation, so kita produce more graduates in this particular sector. Itu fahaman I. Tapi I juga tertarik with your brain drain punya point. Sebab kita punya brain drain is 5.5%, if I'm not mistaken, the last news, which is higher than global punya report, which is 3.3%. So my question is, what happens to kita produce more but we are not retaining our own graduates?
Betul.
Sebab diorang jadi kita punya produk, our schools, our people, but they go and work someplace else. Sebab at the end of the day, bila kita tanya graduates yang kerja dekat luar negara, kenapa tak kerja dekat Malaysia? Oh, sebab dekat Singapore more salary.
Gaji lah.
Biasanya gaji, facility.
Kat social media pun sama.
So macam bila diorang dah pergi kat situ, I think macam sebab bila brain drain ni, I rasa dia very tight upon economic and social punya elements tau. Betul. So dia macam dia bukannya berlega-lega around macam adakah kita punya education ni bagus enough untuk lahirkan graduates, tak. Tapi adakah kita punya whole environment and political ni sesuai untuk diorang nak retain in this country and contribute back into our country yang nak produce more semiconductor dan sebagainya, nak increase our economic punya parts. So I rasa macam selagi kita tak atasi betul-betul brain drain, even though I agree with the 60-40 punya portion, sebab I rasa macam the values, it should be normalised. Dia bukan values ni something yang macam even though I pun dulu sekolah menengah, I dari science stream tau. So macam memang betul dia kasta tinggi lah. Tapi
betul.
I tak setuju.
I from science stream, like macam I ambil ujian psikometrik tu. And then like the result show I berhak pergi dua-dua. So macam, tapi cikgu counselling I kata I nak tambah subjek seni lah, sebab I minat seni. Tapi dia kata tak boleh lah, you kena fokus more. Sebab dia orang ada apa, projek.
Betul.
Ada projek SPM, ada kerja khusus. So takut terganggu.
Betul. Tapi even though kita dari science stream pun, I sangat tak setuju bila orang ada a bad perception to arts people. Sebab I rasa macam arts are life kot.
Yeah.
Like diorang yang creates the entertainment, diorang yang creates the, you know, the language and such. So
macam
macam
ni bosan weh hidup.
yeah. So itu should be valued and normalized lah, I think.
Betul. I think juga macam untuk tekankan pentingnya masalah STEM brain drain, specifically STEM brain drain. Ni is dia bukan just affect our manufacturing, our technology industry, like what you mentioned, the semiconductor stuff, engineers nak pergi Singapore ke apa ke kan. It's also affecting our healthcare. Betul. Sebab doctors, yeah, if you ask doctors, especially those yang training or those yang still studying, you ask them about their career prospects. Nanti kerja macam mana kan? Masa houseman lah, masa apalah, masuk Kementerian Kesihatan, and you compare that dengan what their life would be like in, for example, Singapore kan. Tak naklah asyik bandingkan kita orang dengan Singapore, tapi yelah sebab berdekatan kan. And diorang macam it might be better lah kan. So it's affecting our healthcare industry juga, affecting our healthcare system. So benda ni is not just about kita nak naikkan GDP. Kita nak naikkan quality service. Betul. Quality service, quality product Malaysia kita. So benda ni very important, and benda ni it's more than just the education ministry lah yang should play a role in this, hoping that they are tengah try menangani masalah ni lah.
Maksudnya memang kena ada integration lah kan between all the ministry juga.
Betul. As much as kita nak naikkan level of expertise, level of graduates kita, as maybe is it shallow to say that gaji pun kena setimpal lah.
Betul?
Gaji pun kena setimpal lah. Yeah. Ini sekarang you guys are studying uni kan. We don't need to discuss this further, but what are the estimation of fresh grad salary kan? And you compare dengan that dengan kos sara hidup dekat, for example, KL. It doesn't seem attractive lah to study in Malaysia and then keep on working here when you could earn a lot more elsewhere. Betul. So benda tu yang kena di-address lah oleh a number of ministries kan, Kementerian Ekonomi, Kementerian Sumber Manusia, semua ni lah. So macam tu lah.
Alright, so kita dah cover pasal the early entry to primary school. So now kita akan berehat sebentar and kembali lagi kepada segmen ketiga, iaitu kita akan bincang pasal mandatory general studies in tertiary education. So see you guys soon. Bye.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Small Talk. Okay, so for our segment 3, we are going to extend our discussion sikit. Sebab initially, segment 1 and segment 2 kan kita fokus dekat RPM, Rancangan Pendidikan Malaysia. But now we're gonna extend it a bit to Rancangan Pendidikan Negara, where it involves the KPT as well, which means it involves our tertiary education as well. So, what we are going to talk is basically pasal cadangan baru-baru ni dalam RPN, where the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, have actually introduced something where he said that starting this year, they will introduce a new subject of general studies ataupun kita panggil MPU lah. Okay, so apa yang MPU ni akan tawarkan adalah subjek Federal Constitution and Malaysian History, in which this subject akan diperkenalkan to all the university, regardless public ke, private ke, and also it will be taught in Malay. So kalau sekarang every university macam public, I think mungkin much standardized, tapi kalau private they have their own jurisdiction as to what syllabus they want to do.
Agaklah sebab since I international punya university, so how do they teach this to non-local student from negara lain?
So what they're gonna do adalah they will introduce this, sebab yelah kita pun kadang-kadang dengar kan student lahir dekat Johor contohnya kan, membesar dekat Penang tapi tak reti cakap BM. Macam mana tu? Kan? So mungkin kita nak avoid lah benda ni. So this is something that will be introduced lah. Tapi I am curious as well, sebab kalau I lah kan yang datang daripada sekolah harian, And then also my kelompok pun dekat universiti, walaupun datang daripada latar belakang lain-lain, tapi macam semua orang ambil SPM. Kan, semua orang ambil SPM. So the issue is, kita kan dekat SPM, kita dah kena belajar sejarah. Lepas tu macam, bahasa Melayu pun kena lulus. Lepas tu, you masuk dekat IPT, you belajar lagi kenegaraan Malaysia. So, ini you guys punya opinion lah. Won't that be like a repetition kalau kita wajibkan benda ni to everyone? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think agak nampak macam repetition lah. So macam you dah belajar kat sekolah menengah. Even like waktu zaman I dulu sekolah rendah, kan sekolah rendah pun ada subjek sejarah.
Betul.
Like ada kena tokoh-tokoh apa semua. And then like bila dia ajar balik dekat universiti, so kenapa kita ambil SPM sejarah? Kita kena belajar balik.
Make sense.
Like macam we have that knowledge, the base. And then like I think it's the same lah sebab it's a facts. It's not like macam subjective punya facts. Non such thing as subjective facts. So bagi I dia agak macam repetition.
Tapi kalau the Federal Constitution punya part, do you think like is needed or dia macam akan repeat juga? Sebab kan ada belajar tapi macam very basic lah. Or do you think the basic pun dah cukup untuk everyone yang latar belakang lain-lain macam tu?
I rasa history, it depends what the syllabus is lah kan. It depends. Maybe dia macam go a step further after the syllabus. I think I tak ingat sangat. School was such a long time ago. Caca tua sangat kan. School was a few years ago lah, and I tak ingat lah. I think history form 5 syllabus stopped after kemerdekaan.
Betul.
Nothing after that, right? So maybe it's been like what 60 years since independence. Maybe diorang nak cakap satu lah. Maybe ataupun they take a different approach kan. Sekolah, cara kita ajar budak-budak lain dengan cara kita ajar budak-budak uni kan. Maybe approach tu lain. Tapi bab Federal Constitution ni rasa macam agak berat lah. Rasa macam agak technical. Rasa macam okay, kalau budak-budak law tak apalah kan. Budak law mungkin boleh faham lah. Kalau for the layman kan, I rasa I don't know lah. It depends on the approach. Tapi whether it's beneficial, I rasa there is merit to it. But how they go about it lah, I think itu yang penting.
Faham. Sebab I sendiri pun kan, I rasa macam nak kata repetition tu, it might be kalau orang tu memang betul-betul yang mendalami sejarah lah waktu zaman dia belajar. Tapi kadang-kadang I rasa mungkin there are some people yang maybe waktu zaman dia dekat sekolah menengah, dia punya sejarah tu dia tak kuasai sangat. So mungkin dia punya pengetahuan pun medium. And I rasa macam it's important juga for us, macam you cakap lah, I agree untuk kita tahu what is the syllabus. Sebab bila dah masuk IPT, I rasa level kematangan tu dah berbeza. Sebab mungkin dekat sejarah, dekat SPM, kita more focus to the tokoh and their achievements and what they have contributed to our country. Tapi bila dah masuk IPT, kadang-kadang bila kita tengok kenegaraan tu, dia cerita macam, okay, what's the next step? Sekarang kita dah jadi youth, okay, apa yang kita kena buat untuk kita maintain this kemerdekaan lah contohnya. And then I rasa macam, kan, sebab I rasa macam benda tu is something yang bila you dah masuk IPT, okay, now it's your responsibility sebab you akan lead the country. Betul, lah
like,
macam tu.
And then like I terfikir juga, since kita budak-budak uni ni, we have like more accessibility and when it come to reach out to orang luar lah. Macam kita ada kebebasan untuk we can call out ni untuk collab ke apa benda semua. So maybe we can use this opportunity untuk instead of duduk kelas and hafal all the facts macam SPM dulu, kita boleh buat interactive activities. Kalau ada assignment ke apa, macam okay, buat drama, lakonkan balik macam mana daripada this year peperangan dan kemerdekaan. Tak pun sejarah kan it's all about macam story lah.
Betul.
So maybe like student can buat storybook as part of the assessment. So nampak lagi menarik lah. So tak adalah nampak diorang hafal, tapi instead diorang menghayati cerita tu. Macam mana before kemerdekaan and apa yang dah dibuat untuk proses dapatkan kemerdekaan.
Faham.
So dia jadikan assessment tu more interaktif lah kalau nak di-apply dekat tertiary education.
Maksudnya assessment tu pun I rasa kena sama matang dengan the students punya level.
Betul.
Yeah.
And I think to macam expand on that point, and also your point tadi of there is no such thing as subjective facts. I think betul, there is no such thing as subjective facts. Tapi my truth and your truth might be different.
Okay.
Nampak tak? And I think this is something you kena take into account bila kita nak ajar sejarah kat peringkat universiti. Sebab I don't know about you guys lah, but when masa belajar sejarah dulu kat sekolah, I felt lah a bit macam the syllabus might have been politically motivated.
Agak lah.
Macam certain things were given more time than others. So
macam I dekat dalam buku sejarah tu macam there's a lot of loophole. Macam asal tiba-tiba ni like there's something like
betul.
macam tak incomplete tau.
Betul.
So,
And bukan tipu. Dia orang tak tipu kan.
Cuma
they're not telling the whole truth. Maybe lah kan. So that is a thing yang you have to take into account bila nak ajar kat peringkat universiti. So I think betul buat drama, buat this, but also I think it leaves room for intellectual discussions. Kan, to discuss past events. And maybe to discuss what would you have done in that instance kan. I think especially sejarah negara kita is involved or highlighted by a few key decisions made. So I think it would be interesting to discuss those events and to think about what would you have done in that situation. What do you think that person should have done? Or now in hindsight, was that the right decision? Macam tu. I think kalau in the spirit of belajar dari history kan, orang kata if you don't learn your history, you're doomed to repeat it. In the spirit of that, kena ada juga like room for intellectual discussion. Whether or not our system is ready for that is a different question lah.
Ya, betul.
Betul.
Okay, so that leads me to my second question jugalah to you guys. If let's say lah you have the power kan, you nak redesign lah the course for our university students. You see, you can either remain or retain something that was taught to you. Contoh dalam course kenegaraan tu kan, ada something yang you suka lah benda ni kan, you really felt touched and you want to retain that. Ataupun you rasa macam there are some parts yang mungkin kita kena ubah benda ni, kita kena add something, maybe to make it align with the new suggestion kan, apa Federal Constitution and Malaysian history. What would you guys do? Sebab okay, kalau I kan, I rasa macam when it comes to Federal Constitution, it seems simple but it's heavy gila.
Betul.
Sebab macam kalau even kalau orang yang belajar Federal Constitution, memang dia something yang sangat critical because every words mean differently.
Betul.
So macam so I rasa macam bila you nak ajar tu kepada orang yang mungkin bukan dari background undang-undang.
Betul.
So dia macam something yang you have to make it like layman, betul-betul layman. Sebab the thing is kadang-kadang kita contohlah kan, when any issues jadi, especially tak kisah kes tu viral ke tak viral ke kan, people still don't understand how court works, what are the YDPA powers, what are the ministerial powers. So I think benda tu, those are very basic things yang should be taught and should be understood by everyone. Diorang kena be well understood. And also bila Malaysian history, I rasa macam kematangan tu dah kena lain. Macam contoh kan, kalau I belajar dulu kenegaraan ni, dia masih cerita pasal buat kerja macam cari satu tradisi and talk about that tradition.
Yes.
So contoh kalau you pelik ulit mayang, you cerita pasal ulit mayang. Tapi I rasa okay, I love that, but maybe we can add the assessment.
Right.
You know, we can add macam you cakap lah kan, what are the loopholes? Contohnya pilih pemimpin, and what will you do if you are in his shoes? You know, so sebab benda tu is aligned with kematangan yang you dah dekat peringkat IPT and you are to be a leader in whatever role you want to be, etc. Tapi you still must know how that would affect your country in the future. So kalau you guys, korang rasa macam mana?
I think to redesign subjects kat university level kan, I would move away from nation-based subjects. Kita bukan je nak bangunkan Malaysians, we want to bangunkan holistically developed humans kan. Manusia yang nak katakan jack of all trades katanya kan. So I would say I would focus on two things. One is arts. Arts in the sense of expression, in the sense of, you know, not just hard skills, but also, you know, ways to express. It could be anything lah, could be like poetry ke apa ke. But another thing very important is to teach curiosity. Element of whatever these university compulsory subjects, dia kena teach curiosity. Sebab while you know, the layman cannot faham constitution, tapi we should bangunkan a nation of curious individuals yang akan dia sendiri akan pergi research. What is the constitution about? Kan? Ada keinginan nak belajar tu. So macam mana nak pupuk keinginan belajar tu? And I think number one itu ni paling penting. University subject should not affect your pointer.
Betul.
It should not affect your pointer. It should be pass fail sahaja. And you get to choose which subject you nak based on your interest.
Betul.
So when you can do that, you tak fikir pun, ni subjek senang ke subjek susah. So kadang-kadang ada fikir kan, subjek ni easy A ke tak? Tanya senior. Senior, you ambil subjek mana dulu?
I agree sebab dekat UDI pun sometimes Unicore ni dia punya susah daripada you punya major and it affects your CGPA.
Betul.
Macam you nak graduate pun susah.
Betul.
It should be pass or not.
Betul.
Tu
And
je.
it goes against kita nak ajar students lah. Sebab now it's just about ini senang dapat A ke tak? Ini assignment susah ke tak? Ini lecturer ni strict ke tak? Kan?
Betul.
So that part
Sometimes lecturer pun subjek tu unicore and then like they took it like very seriously. Macam faham tak?
Right.
You have another focus and then like you kena fokus kat benda yang kurang penting untuk you punya major.
Betul.
And benda ni pula buat makin you tak minat dengan subjek yang kerajaan and the unit itself want to implement.
Betul.
Nak pupuk dalam that student.
Tapi kalau contohkan ada juga isu macam students rasa lecturer yang ajar subjek unicore ni tak bersemangat.
Okay.
Contohnya macam mungkinlah he or she wants to learn the subject, tapi isu dia pula macam lecturer tu ajar nak tak nak. Macam ini my experience jugalah.
It depends on lecturer.
Depends on lecturer. Mungkin kelas A ni dia punya lecturer macam happy-happy ajar. Lecturer kita pula macam baca slide contohnya. So at the end
baca, duduk.
so
That's
you
all,
pun
thank you.
you pun literally macam tak boleh nak fokus. Dah lah MPU selalu kelas kan ramai.
Betul.
So macam do you guys think that the values that we are trying to implement dalam the course will actually be achieved kalau kita tak pay attention to this part of the education?
Betul.
I rasa kita kena titik beratkan the instructor juga. Bagi I instructor ni penting. Like kalau I tengok pun daripada I sekolah rendah pergi sekolah menengah and then pergi university, I rasa subjek tu interesting ke tak, it depends on the instructor.
Betul.
And then like contohlah I tak suka fizik. And then like tiba-tiba ada seorang cikgu ni dia ajar bersungguh-sungguh. Dia ajar in that you boleh faham dengan you punya bahasa instead of macam arah kau buat sekarang. And then like lepas tu kita tak tahu dia marah. Instead of macam tolong guide one by one, fahamkan kita. And then like I rasa lecturer ni penting.
Betul.
Dan lagi yang ada experience and boleh tunjuk betul-betul kenapa benda ni penting dalam hidup kita, kenapa kita kena belajar benda ni.
Betul.
I think macam sort of kalau kita nak ambil half-half lah, korang punya tu experiences tu kan, macam yelah, it's a shame lah kan, kadang-kadang budak-budak memang nak belajar tapi lecturer pun macam tak semangat lah mengajar tu kan. And also the lecturer yang macam very serious, I think personally I respect that lah kan, you are taking your job seriously. Tapi kena ada balance lah, kena ada balance of yelah, you faham lah, students are there to really study their major. So I think we want both. We want the lecturer yang serious of ajar this uni subjects, but also tak nak membebankan students. So I think it's about implementing the pass fail system would make it would achieve both lah. So lecturers boleh ajar betul-betul, students pun boleh tak pressure sangat lah nak dapat A tu.
Dekat kat uni korang tak ada student feedback survey?
Ada.
Oh, ada.
Ada.
You can give comment and rate your lecturer kan?
Kalau
Betul.
I tak I selalu tak berani.
Oh.
Kalau macam
Like they cannot read.
Ya,
Siapa
tapi
is
macam
anonymous.
Tapi macam kalau dekat my uni lah kan, macam my friends and I, kita orang selalu rasa macam sebab benda tu kan akan sampai dekat dekan you punya dia akan sampai dekat dekan fakulti. So macam everyone akan rasa macam tak nak lah nanti kan kalau lecturer baca sebab lecturer boleh baca before your final exam. So sometimes it would affect diorang punya mood to you. Walaupun dia tak tahu pun dia tak tahu pun itu you. So macam pernah jadi dekat my uni kan. Macam lecturer dah tahu, so dia affect
the lecturer yang akan baca sendiri feedback tu.
tak silap I, yes.
Oh, kalau tak silap I, university I, diorang will have like department punya meeting and then head of department will show out. Student most complain about you pasal this thing, kenapa you macam gini.
Kalau for me pula, macam I think I'm not sure about my uni lah, how they do it, macam like you mentioned a meeting and whatnot. So I'm not sure about the transparency of the use of the data tu kan. So yalah, I am not so confident in using that as a feedback system lah. But I have given my feedback. I don't know what they did with it lah kan.
I bagi juga feedback tapi macam tak ada apa-apa pun.
Kadang-kadang I wait for the feedback time lah. Kadang-kadang baru week 4 I macam tunggu. Kadang-kadang I rasa macam tak sabar nak kasi feedback. Bukan apa. But I don't know lah. I don't know how they use the information lah, how they use the feedback. So itulah, I'm not sure lah.
Tapi macam I think kalau boleh bagi feedback pun maybe that's a good method jugalah untuk improve the instructor and everything kan. Tapi macam okay, since both of you pun pernah belajar, contohnya you belajar kenegaraan ke?
Kat university I tak ada such thing.
So what's your like nationhood-ish punya subject?
More to like Islamic base.
Oh, okay. Kalau you nak
It was mine lah. I think we took something like falsafah something.
Oh.
And then dah tak ingat dah lah.
Oh, okay. So maybe like from your one okay lah, maybe not nation-ish, tapi maybe like yang relate to Malaysia a bit lah kan. Mungkin sejarah-ish punya subject ke. Kalau you ada, ataupun maybe kalau you tak ada dekat peringkat IPT like your school punya time, maybe what were the one discussion ataupun the one assessment yang you memang rasa betul-betul attached to the constitutional values, to the historical values of Malaysia.
Okay, I have interesting story pasal sejarah ni. At first, I tak suka sejarah ni.
Okay.
Kenapa I kena fikir? Waktu tu, I dah form 5. And then like, kawan I ada bagi satu PDF ni, subject the recap form 4, form 5 punya sejarah. And then I print jadi macam booklet kecil lah. Setiap topik tu I baca. And then sebelah I prepare soalan SPM objektif ABCD. And then like okay, I try fahamkan that macam ni I tak belajar dengan cikgu tau. Ni I self-taught.
Self-study.
And then like I baca satu topik tu, I habiskan, jalan cerita dia macam gini. Okay, lepas ni tahun bila, tahun tu penting. And then I buat topik 1, objective question. And then I tanda-tanda, dia satu topik tu dia ada banyak set soalan. So I buat banyak-banyak. And then turns out SPM sejarah I A+.
Oi.
Yeah.
So it works lah your self-study tu kan.
Yeah.
So itu the moment you connected to history lah basically.
Lepas tu like macam dari situ I macam ada something wrong. Okay, contohnya I tak tahu lah benda ni sensation ke tak. Macam all the times Dato' Onn Jaafar sentiasa ada. Tapi dekat nak ambang kemerdekaan nama dia hilang.
Betul.
Tiba-tiba Tunku Abdul Rahman muncul.
Betul.
Korang, I curious. Kenapa? Tapi sebab ni kan, tak silap I dia tukar parti. That's why.
Betul. Perhaps you took special interest in that sebab I think Dato' Jaafar orang Johor. Tak silap.
No.
Tak eh?
No.
Tak eh? Oh, sejarah I solid je, sorry. So I think okay, betul. The way we learn sejarah tu penting, kan? But it's also the fact that okay, what's the point of kita nak belajar sejarah ni? Okay, especially sekarang recently diorang buat kena pass sejarah kan. Ini school level lah, kena pass SPM. Tapi I think sepatutnya the point of it is kita nak budak-budak menghayati sejarah.
Betul.
Tapi
Kenal macam mana kemerdekaan ni
betul.
jadi kat negara sendiri.
And not just know the facts, but really understand it, deep it, belajar from it. And it wasn't all pretty. The process and what happened after pun wasn't all pretty. So kita nak belajar dari sejarah and dari kesilapan and dari kemenangan. So I think to your point macam of the stories kan. I remember I think masa form 4 kot. Form 4 I remember macam time ni my friends macam minta ajar sejarah. Time ni I pun tak bukan minat sejarah pun, tapi I saw the cheat code. The cheat code was to learn it as a story, betul tak?
Yeah.
So you belajar satu bab tu macam story, and all I did was I cerita kat my friends like it was a story, and they would understand it immediately lah. Tapi whether or not I menghayati bab tu, totally different question. So I think feeling connected to the history tu, I don't know sangat lah. I felt macam in terms of interest, this might be just the boy in me, but I felt the most interest in sejarah time sekolah. Bab perang sebenarnya.
Agak peperangan dunia kedua.
Semua tu lah.
I invested dengan benda tu. I tak suka sangat peperangan yang pertama sebab macam tak ada kaitan dengan Malaysia.
Betul. So bab perang tu macam I felt quite interested. Tapi masuk bab like I think towards independence masa all the political stuff. I mean at this age I'm interested in that lah, but at that age I wasn't so macam I belajar untuk A je sebenarnya honestly. So tapi at uni level pula, this is not MPU, this is not subject uni, tapi I took Malaysian economics. So benda tu we learn the history of economics kat Malaysia lah. So bab tu okay lah, menarik lah, and sebabkan it was related to my major, so I think that's why I was interested in it lah. But other than that, tak ada lah.
Kalau macam dekat my uni, kita orang one of the uni core is Kenegaraan Malaysia, which is nationhood studies, in which dia memang betul-betul I would say 80% repeat sejarah punya SPM sejarah tu. So macam especially kalau you datang daripada background yang macam kalau you nak masuk that particular course, you wajib A punya sejarah. So sah-sah macam law. Sah-sah semua orang dah masuk sejarah dalam kelas tu. Tapi yang I rasa macam subjek tu menarik sebab dia punya assessment is you have to pilih one culture in Malaysia. It can be a culture, it can be a food, it can be a clothing, it can be anything. Contoh you boleh pilih kuda kepang, you boleh pilih ulit mayang, tarian atau apa-apa, or tempat, Efamosa ke contohnya. And you have to talk about that. But your talk must be you going there, interviewing the people, doing...
I ada ambil subjek macam
kena buat kerja lapangan lah basically. So macam my team waktu tu, kita orang nak senang, kita orang ambil Pekan Rabu.
Okay.
Do you guys familiar with Pekan Rabu?
Tak.
Pekan Rabu dekat Perak.
Alustar.
Tembak tak kena.
So Pekan Rabu is actually dia macam satu building pekan lah basically yang kita panggil pekan. Dia adalah, I'm not sure if in Malaysia, tapi dekat Alustar dia adalah satu kompleks yang dipenuhi dengan peniaga bumi putera Muslim.
Okay.
So dia macam menjadi lambang kemegahan orang Melayu di Kedah. So basically kita orang cerita pasal the development of Pekan Rabu. So waktu tu I rasa sangat interested about how like the peniaga there, diorang sangat like retain diorang punya kemegahan tu. Maksudnya macam even tu Pekan Rabu dah, yelah bukannya hari-hari orang pergi nak beli bekasam, bukannya hari-hari orang pergi nak beli kuih karas. So what they did was diorang buka Shopee. So I sangat amazed waktu I tahu benda tu. I macam wow, to that extent, the people there nak retain diorang punya culture. So, I rasa benda tu sangat interesting lah. And I rasa macam sama juga dengan baju kurung Kedah, everything like semuanya dibuat secara authentic lah katanya dekat Perkara Butu, and it was all so beautiful lah. So I rasa itu adalah my moment yang I rasa macam best doh nationhood ni, macam tu lah. So macam maybe like the only subject yang you actually pergi and you like explore the place and everything lah. So do you guys rasa macam based on your experience lah kan sekarang kan, do you guys feel that that subject like produced you or like shaped you to be a person yang betul-betul like menghayati your nation, your principles in Malaysia, ataupun so-so macam tu?
I rasa it shaped.
Sebab
I pun ada subjek macam you, tapi it's my major punya subjek lah. Which is intercultural communication. Kita orang kena explore dying culture in Malaysia. So like my group choose Tumbuk Kalang. Pernah dengar Tumbuk Kalang? Okay, Tumbuk Kalang ni is actually macam musical instrument. Diorang akan like macam tumbuk-tumbuk. Is benda ni
from negeri mana?
Cuba teka.
Terengganu.
Salah.
Perak.
Tahu Negeri Sembilan. Like kita orang jumpa the only school yang masih retain and maintain Tumbuk Kalang punya tradition lah. Tumbuk Kalang tradition ni basically orang Negeri Sembilan punya tradition. Dia start from orang yang lepas balik tuai sawah apa benda semua. Diorang balik and then like part of diorang punya entertainment is diorang tumbuk and then suddenly they produce music, instrument macam gitu. So dia ada perempuan punya and lelaki punya. So dekat sini kita orang pergilah Negeri Sembilan, kita orang book hotel, kita orang jumpa sekolah tu, budak-budak yang main alat muzik ni. And it's really interesting sebab kita orang pun tak pernah nampak, and then like kita orang nampak dia orang perform. Really best way. And then like they try to macam arrange the music kepada music tengah trending sekarang. So best lah bagi I. So bagi I benda ni dia pupuk apa tadi?
Kenegaraan
dalam diri kita.
Betul?
I think I didn't get that experience lah. I think sadly I did not feel macam so macam mana nak cakap macam bangga dengan negara through these subjects lah. It was more macam other stuff lah. But I think to a certain extent adalah exposure tu sikit kan. Sejarah adalah exposure. Tanpa sejarah tu manalah kita nak tahu tentang different budaya, different macam mana perjalanan kemerdekaan tu. So I think exposure tu ada, and I'm not sure kalau ni lah memang matlamatnya in first place, tapi exposure tu I dapat masa sekolah. Only after sekolah I took that exposure and I betul-betul hayati. So I think in a way it worked lah juga.
Okay, I agree with the both of you lah. I think macam for me the subjects, and I think the outside macam maybe like social media, the people in general really shape me lah as a person yang to love my country today kan. So I think that last question like wrapped up our session. So basically in segment 3 we have discussed how in the Rancangan Pendidikan Negara the minister is about to introduce Malaysian history and federal constitution as a mandatory subject to all the IPT in Malaysia, and how we see that as a new good initiative maybe to enhance the nationhood and juga kenegaraan lah among our students in Malaysia. So after this, we will continue with segment 4, which is call to action. So please stay tuned and stay with us after this. Bye.
Bye. Hi, welcome back to Small Talk. Okay, so now we have our final segment of the day. This is our call to action segment lah. We are trying out the name What Youth Can Do. So it's like what you and then bracket TH can do lah. So since we are a youth platform lah kan. Okay, so just to summarize our discussion, we've talked a bit about the new education plan. Dari segi kemasukan awal ke sekolah rendah dan juga mandatory general studies in tertiary education. So I want to tie it back to one of our core values. Actually, one of our core values kat Small Changes ni is creating social consciousness. And that is sort of our fundamental principle of why we start this podcast in the first place. Sebab kita nak not just people caring about these sort of things, but we use our caring tu, bila kita minat, bila kita menitik beratkan isu-isu ni, we also put it out there so that orang boleh sedar tentang all these issues and we can talk about it together lah kan. But I don't want to just talk about the negatives kan. We've talked a bit about our system and policies. Kita macam ada sedikit kritikan, sedikit maybe pengalaman yang kurang gemar kan. So but through our stories that we've shared, we talk about lack of resources ke, missed opportunities ke. But I want to ask, in our stories ni, was there a moment yang korang fikir, oh actually either what I did or what others experienced, something worked here. Actually our system got it right. You guys have any thoughts on that? Any yang macam, oh actually sistem kita ni works.
I think kalau I lah kan, macam initially I've always thought yang macam introducing dia macam something yang we just thought lah pasal nationhood kan. Macam I always thought macam, oh doing nationhood in IPT ni something yang repetitive. Sebab macam I dah belajar waktu SPM and then dah score. Lepas tu masuk uni I kena belajar like the same thing all over again. But then I realise yang maybe when I was like sharing with you guys, I rasa macam, oh tapi kalau I tak belajar, I tak akan ada that moment. I tak akan dapat the opportunity yang actually go and be connected with the culture yang I tak pernah terfikir pun nak do such a thing macam tu. So I rasa macam maybe the fact that our education system doing things that we see like repetition, maybe it is necessary. Sebab mungkin tak semua orang, sebab macam nationhood yang I cakap tu, dia adalah something yang okay, kalau you background yang dah belajar sejarah, okay lah. Kalau orang yang macam I cakap tadi, tak belajar sangat, tak suka sangat, mungkin that is the moment the person akan actually be connected with the history of our nation. So untuk I, that will be the moment lah.
Kalau bagi I, since I rasa batch first yang buku teks tukar, waktu tu ada sekolah rendah, they introduce to us subject RBT and TMK, Reka Bentuk Teknologi and Teknologi Maklumat Komunikasi. Okay, so bagi I dua subjek ni best. And then like when they introduce to I, tak berapa gemar sangat RBT. I tertarik dengan Teknologi Maklumat Komunikasi. Dia ajar kita coding. Like during that age, korang tak terfikir pun, sumpah hebat gila, cool gila. Masa like macam bila dia ajar animation punya coding, kita orang rasa macam hebat gila. Dekat buku teks tu dia satu-satu dia tulis. Bagi I, bila dia introduce something like that to budak sekolah rendah, diorang invested untuk belajar benda tu. Sebab dia buka benda yang macam budak-budak ni tak pernah terfikir langsung. So I berterima kasih lah dekat during that time where KPM introduce that subject to us.
Macam pendedahan awal lah pada all this advanced technology and whatnot kan. Kalau I pula macam bring it back to our earlier discussion masa second segment tu, I rasa bab prasekolah / tadika tu, and we talked about macam kita belajar ke tak kan. Sebenarnya I think bagus juga that tak adalah memory prasekolah I semua belajar je. It was fine. Banyak-banyak main-main dengan kawan-kawan. Tapi I think even though banyak main, seems like bila dah naik sekolah rendah tu I was ready. So kiranya macam buktinya I ada dah belajar juga kan. So I rasa that thing they got it right. That time awal-awal tu there is a balance. Kita nak fun, kita nak belajar. Tak adalah kita sangat push skill mengira, menulis math, science, all this. So I think they got that right. Sebelum masuk sekolah rendah, fun tu is quite emphasized. So I think that part they got right lah. So I think we also want to hear dari pendengar kita. So we like to invite you guys to share your stories, all your lived experiences, to either comment down below or shoot us a message at Small Changes My on Instagram. Yes.
Just comment down your school experience, anything that related to our discussion before, and then like korang boleh tag SC so that like everyone aware, and then like kita orang boleh post balik and repost to our story.
Yep. Okay. So final thing on the cara rancangan pendidikan Malaysia, rancangan pendidikan negara is that benda ni polisi besar kan. It's a rancangan 10 years ahead, and it's just it is macam mana susah nak boil down 10 years of schooling experience to just a document kan. So nak tekankan that sebenarnya lived experiences is very important. So benda tu patut dititik beratkan kan, walaupun kita bukanlah pegubah dasar, kita bukanlah government advisors, kita bukanlah Perdana Menteri, tapi kita sebagai people who've been through the system, and I think that is value in hearing testimony from those who've been through the system. Sebab rancangan pendidikan Malaysia ni, as we talked about, it affects what? Teachers, parents, kids, so it affects everyone. So it's very important that we talk about this lah. And Small Changes pula as an organisation, what we do to try to address these issues is we run educational camps, we run projects. And this is a part where I also want to plug our Ramadan fundraising campaign. This is a fundraising initiative that we've tried to, that we're trying to do in this holy month, in this blessed month. We're trying to target fundraising about 3,500 ringgit. All proceeds will fully be utilized for our projects, for our initiatives. These include preparing educational modules, preparing the structure of the programs, renting the venues. So if you guys want to see more about our projects, you guys can see this on the videos on our IG. So we have after movies of our projects.
And then like kita orang juga ada sediakan package. Which one do you like to donate? And dekat situ korang boleh tengoklah yang berkaitan. And then like kalau korang nak derma sebanyak yang korang seikhlas hati pun boleh juga. So anything can look forward to our Instagram posting. We will provide detailed information there. So kalau apa-apa, just comment below. Someone will reply your concern.
Yep. So in Small Changes, we truly believe our founding and fundamental principle is that small contributions can make a big impact. Small changes can make a big difference. So I guess to wrap the episode up, what's one hope? What's one hope? So kita we nak end on a positive note lah. What's one hope you guys have for our listeners today?
I really hope apa yang kita orang bincang tadi ni terdetik something dalam korang punya fikiran about our current education system, so that korang more aware, and like walaupun korang tak directly involved in that, tapi kita orang pun titik beratkan korang punya like the social consciousness, so that everyone tahu and everyone aware lah apa yang terjadi dekat kita punya education system.
Yeah, I think the whole purpose of this podcast is for social consciousness. And even though you are watching and you are not a policy maker, but we still need to understand that we are the shareholders from this blueprint. So whatever that they're doing affects you as a youth. So I think it's very important for you to comment and let us know what you think, and maybe something that we can share in our upcoming podcast. So let us know, and we hope that this podcast brings something positive to you.
Yep, yes. And I think the final nail in the coffin, the final point, is that caring matters. Caring always matters. Never let anyone tell you any different. And caring is the way the world is built. Caring can change the world. And we look forward to shooting more episodes, having more discussions about these issues that impact us, not just the ones at the top. Again, it affects everyone, and we look forward to involving more of you guys in our discussions through comments on social media, discussions on social media, and see you guys in the next episode. And that's all from us. Okay, thank you guys, and this has been Small Talk.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.